Fed is reactive, not proactive, and that worries me. I mean, we've got clearly a much more serious inflation problem than they anticipated. They've attempted to sort of cover themselves and abandon this notion of a transitory, short-lived increases. But that leaves the real federal funds rate, at the latest inflation rate, deeply in negative territory to the tune of a -6% based on the October CPI. Could get even worse in November. You go back to the early 70s when I got my start as a young pup with a lot more hair than I have now. The worst the federal funds rate got in the early 70s was a -5%. And that was a horrible mistake that was implemented by Federal Reserve Chairman Arthur Burns at the time, sowing the seeds of the great inflation. No one thinks that's going to happen this time. I don't either. But there are some worrisome parallels with Fed denial in the early 70s.
Stephen, I've got to say, though, you make the point, average inflation targeting was flawed from the start. So does that imply that a hawkish pivot is flawed too if the Fed is reacting or perhaps overreacting to the wrong type of inflationary signals?
Well, I think the average inflation targeting framework was designed to deal with a continuation of the very low inflation that we've had since the global financial crisis, with the idea that any deviations from that low inflation trajectory would be modest, and that the inflation rate would return to its low inflation trajectory. So you could afford to condone modest upside surprises. What the average inflation targeting framework didn't do, Sri, was allow for a sharp inflation shock and like we're having right now, and the possibility that we return after this shock to a much higher rate of underlying inflation than we did, in the 10 years or so prior to COVID. So, it was a backward-looking effort designed for an inflation regime that now no longer appears as operative as it did then. And so that's a worrisome development.
Hi, I'm Emily Tan, and thanks for watching CNBC. You can check out more of our videos by clicking on the boxes on the screen, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more. Thanks for watching.